episode. I'm going to try not to swear. Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Laser Source Podcast. Very super special guest today, Jim Edgeworth from the Edge of Tech.
What's up? How's it
What's
going?
up, Jim? Bro, okay, first, really, just before we do anything else, before we get to the co-host, thank you, Kyle. Dude, is your last name really Edgeworth?
It is.
What a boss name to get. You know what I mean? That's like a last name.
It can be like classy, but it could also be real edgy.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah, I know, for real. Also joining me today, Matt Bodiford. What's up, Matt?
Doing all right.
We've got Kyle, Mr. Kyle. How's it going, man?
What's up?
And as always, Boyce, looking like you got a fresh wet shave up there, man. Is that like real? That's like solid. Yeah,
it's clean.
I think you would be the like.
The mustache looks trimmed too.
You're like the anti-Edge of Tech over here.
I'll say I'm the opposite of Jim.
Yeah, like the just complete polar opposite.
He is falling off the Edge of Tech into
the abyss of tech.
The edge of hairdos.
So
look
good.
at all these people in chat. What's up? Edgeworth is very edgy. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're super excited to have you here, man. And you're streaming this live on your channel right now too. Right?
Yeah, we're live over here. So hey,
Crazy.
Everybody.
What's up, guys?
Little bit different content, and I love it. I think we're starting to get some people in there. I think Blasto and Kenneth are jumping in, and
Nice.
I'm just super pumped to be here. I know you guys have been asking for a minute. Alex is like, remember that time we talked about this podcast, and it was like 6 months ago. And
dude, I totally get it. Home life here is crazy too. The acrobatics that my wife has to do in order to get me this slot every week is just like outrageous. So shout out Miranda.
Shout out, yeah. And you just had a new baby, right?
We're like weeks away, dude.
Weeks away.
Like,
I knew you were
close. She's like real close, which is almost worse. Almost worse. But yeah, we're here. We finally got together. I'm stoked about it. And if you're here from Jim's crowd, from Jim's neck of the woods, these guys are probably used to like Hotmakes, which is like very structured. If you guys are here from my camp and you haven't seen Hotmakes, go subscribe. It's on its own channel now. It's a really cool show about just everything maker. A lot of just amazing interviews. It's stellar. There's a link down in the description. But if you're here from Jim's neck of the woods and this is your first time joining us over here at Laser Everything, we are not organized at all. We just kind of
we like to shoot from the hip.
Yeah, we shoot from the hip pretty much weekly here. So
chaos everywhere.
Welcome to chaos if you like that. Jim, I don't even know where to start with you, dude. You started Edge of Tech was like a 3D printing channel.
It was.
Right? That's like how it kind of sprouted. Why that? What got you into that? And
oh man, so the story goes. It all starts when I was 6 years old. No, I'm just joking. Basically, a good friend and coworker of mine, Steve. I'm not sure if he's watching right now or not, but it's your fault, Steve. Years ago, he's like, dude, I got this thing. It's called a 3D printer. It was like $1,200. And it prints stuff in plastic, and I'm like, it does what? And then years went by, and he's like, dude, I got this new thing. It's called an Ender 3. It blows my $1,200 printer out of the water, like from the beginning. Check this out. And then from then it was like an obsession. And that was we were on our way to a Perfect Circle concert. If you ever heard of a Perfect Circle,
yes,
of course.
Maynard.
So Maynard and Tool, and so we were on our way out. My wife and Steve and I, and the whole way there and back, we pretty much watched 3D printing review videos to see what I should get. And he got the Ender 3, and then I ordered one on Black Friday, and he had the Ender 3 for a couple months, and he just loved it, and that's what it started. And then, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I ordered a bajillion upgrades, like you do. Never printed with the thing. Don't even have it yet, but I have $300 in upgrades on the way. Right?
Is that where Edge of Tech started? Like you were like modding your kind of setup that you had?
It started because I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know what an extruder was or a hot end was. Yeah. And Steve was around, and he could help me print. Like he showed me how to slice something and print it and that kind of thing. But like I was looking and I found a guy named Luke Hadfield, and he wrote this huge guide for 3D printing and based on like the Ender 3 series printers. And I reached out to him and I said, hey man, I don't understand what your words are. Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell us to do because I don't know what those things are. Can I start poorly filming them, I mean, and putting them up for videos, so people can learn with me, because I need to learn how to calibrate my E-steps or fix the X gantry, right? And I said, I'll film step by step on your guide. I'll send you the video. You tell me how bad I screwed it up. I'll fix it, and then I'll post it. And that's how I started my whole channel. And, I just remembered the other day, I never changed my intro video. So it's like the very first video I ever did is my intro video on my channel right now.
Wow.
So it's
Very
like, hey,
dude, that's the piece of you took from the past and brought with you into the future, though.
It is. And then, from there it turned into like my whole goal in the very beginning was to learn and 3D print.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dude, I want to get a free 3D printer. That was my goal. Like, I didn't care about anything else. Like, I need 2 is what my problem was. And then Creality reached out to me through Luke and said, hey, would you like to do a like how to build video basically on the Ender 3? And they sent me the printer, and like after a month I had a free printer, and I was like, now what do I do? This is all like, this is what I wanted to like, this is my goal.
Yeah.
And goal achieved.
Yeah. And then as many dollars in studio stuff later and shops later and all that stuff. We're here, we're having a lot of fun, and I probably film more than I actually print for fun now.
Would you call yourself like a 3D printing master at this point? Like, have you mastered that?
Oh man, no, I don't.
Are you sure? Because I've seen
so.
Some of the crazy stuff you've been printing lately, and I feel like that takes some skill, dude. You gotta give yourself some credit.
I tell you, I think I'm far from master because there's so much to learn, and it's always changing, right? Yeah. It just like lasers, I jumped into that later in the world when like the Ortur Laser Master 2 came out or whatever. They said, do you want to try this? And I was like, yeah, I don't have one. Let's try it. Instantly addicted.
Right.
Like the first time I burnt something, it was just like the first time you print something, right? You pull this thing off of your printer, and you're like, this is plastic. I did this, you know what I mean? And then it's like, whoa, right?
You picked a good way to slip. You kind of slipped downhill. So it was like you went from 3D to 2D, and it's much easier going that direction.
Yeah.
I have zero 3D printing experience, and I have very little motivation to start because that's an uphill slip. That I feel like there's when you add that third dimension, there's so much more that you have to.
But it's getting so much lasers, 3D printers, all of that stuff, right? It's not like a toaster. You don't just throw it on your counter at home and you say, make me something. You there's work that goes into it, right? Yeah. But it's getting closer with all those machines. It's getting so much closer, right? 3D printing this past year took a huge leap forward with the Bamboo Lab.
Yeah, dude.
Someone says Bamboo K1 Max, nice. Anyways, with the Bamboo Lab printers,
showing off down there.
I think it is the closest thing out of the box printing that I've ever seen, and it's so fast.
Yeah.
I did last night during the show with the Hotmakes show, I did a 6:4 reducer for the new ventilation I got for the fiber laser. I'm sure we'll talk about that. And it printed in 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Full size 6 inch to 4 inch reducer.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
just
awesome.
It's hard to go back to other printers.
The prices too are really coming down. I mean, it's just that continuous democratization of technology, and things get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I tell my audience all the time, I'm like, we play with stuff that used to only be purchasable by like giant manufacturing plants for like tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now we just like have one in our garage or in our
I want it smaller, and I want to be able to take it.
And we're like it doesn't work good. And it's like, dude, like this is amazing.
I don't think I have it here, but Matt, I have. What the heck was this thing? I got oh man, I think it's a Sane Smart little diode with with the mirrors in it, and it's like this big. You can literally pick it up and carry it around. It's like a 3x3 burn area, but they like say you can put it up against things and stuff like.
That's pretty dope, and people will still complain about it. But
right.
By the way, he's right. Like I know the bamboo thing. I was just gonna say that I've got the. It's really cool how far it's come. Like I got the Delta FL Sun Super Racer, like the little Delta thing, and it's amazing, dude. Like I have zero. I'm like with Alex, zero skill with printing, and Kyle basically sat there with me when I was getting out of the box, and maybe like an hour later, I had like my first 3D printed like chess piece, and I was like, "What? It's wild."
Yeah, the Super Racer or the V400?
Super Racer.
Ooh, I have one. If anyone wants it, let me know. The V400 is the fast one, the one that came out after the Super Racer, and I thought they were sending me that, right? And I was like, yeah, send it over. I can't wait to check this thing out. I love Delta printers. Got it, and it was a Super Racer. Checked my email, and they sent me an email at some point and said, actually, we're out of stock. Can you do this video first, and then we'll send you the 400? And I'm like, I didn't read it, and I was like, yeah, shoot it over, because I thought they were sending the 400 over, and I was like, this thing is. I saw Joel's stream, I saw some other ones, and I'm like, this isn't getting the light of day, probably not because it's not an okay printer. It's just because I've seen a lot of issues. They can be mitigated very quickly. I just didn't want to do a whole video and then have people tell me how bad I was wrong. Right.
Yeah. We run into that over here from time to time.
Actually, right?
It is what
actually.
it is. Yeah.
It is. So when you like slipped on the banana peel and fell into the laser pile, it was because of diodes. You got in with diodes.
Man, it was.
And that itself is a slippery slope, especially once, dude, the diode manufacturers, once one of them gets a hold of you, they just come in, and that's a crazy world.
There's so many diode options out there.
But that's the thing. At the time, they had the Ortura Laser Master, which was the one with the arm, and then they came out with the Laser Master 2, which is like 400 by 400. And that's the one I started on because I turned down the other one. Like, this is little. I don't necessarily want to play with that. It's open diode. There's a stigma behind that. And then finally, I was like, I'm doing this. I don't care. Let's check it out. And you're just stuck. Then you dive super down the rabbit hole of painted tiles, white tile method, all of the coasters. It's and then in the 2-3 months later, I just happened to be looking at Facebook Marketplace. I found a Chinese blue and white 50 watt. A person had passed away, and their wife was having a friend of theirs sell like the guy's stuff. Right. I was like, I'll come look at it. $800. Yep. It says extra laser tube. It came with everything. I get there, the extra laser tube's broken. Like he didn't take care of it. It's broken in the packaging, which sucked because I was looking forward to that. I think I ended up giving him $700 or $650, right around there.
Yeah.
But it was.
I mean, that's the cost of a chiller, bro. I mean,
dude, that's what I'm saying. It was like my way into CO2, right?
If everything on that machine was broken, that was probably still a decent deal.
Yeah. That's a gateway laser for sure. Like,
yeah. When you guys know Russ, is it Stadler?
Sabar.
Yep.
Can't say his last name, but he does the doohickey, right? He has that thing called a doohickey. It measures well, anyways, that came with it. I had no idea what this thing was. I'm searching like probe, and I find something they call the doohickey. I reach out to him. He's the nicest guy I've ever talked to. Like, he's like, yeah, I'll help you. Anything you want. I was like, I never even talked to you before, But no, it was cool. It came with everything. And then I dove into CO2 and realized how much faster it was than diode.
Yeah.
And
cutting, don't at me. I know the diodes can cut, but cutting. Come on.
Listen, buddy. You listen here.
Yeah. Technically. And then what did you hit your head on when you discovered galvo lasers? Because I know you've got a shiny new one.
So that was a lot of fault of you guys. No, I watched your show, your channel for a while, and others, and I started seeing coins, and you all of a sudden you watch something and it starts going through me. Obviously, YouTube's like feed me, gives you everything, And I started seeing coins. I started seeing how cool it was. And I'm like, this is pretty sweet. I might need to check this out. And that's how it started. Now and then, I think worked with Omtech. It took a minute. We're working on it since like August, and I finally got the machine maybe a month ago or something. Around a month ago.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty
Nice.
too. I've seen those pictures. It's in the thumbnail if you guys haven't seen it.
I love that. It's I have some pictures too if you want to see them. But it's
sure.
It's red. I'm a blue guy, but I love the red. I don't know what it is. It's a sweet looking machine.
Yeah.
And then I realized if anyone out there watched my video 2 weeks ago, because I didn't do a video last week. For those of you who don't know, Caleb, the guy who edits my videos, a longtime friend since like 2019 when I met him at a 3D printing function. Actually, he lost his house in a tornado.
Oh my
in
god!
Little Rock,
Whoa,
it went right through his neighborhood. House gone. All of his machines, his 3D printers, his vinyl cutter, like big vinyl cutter.
Man.
His laptop, his big gaming video editing
wild.
machine,
That's
all
crazy,
of it,
dude.
So we didn't do a video last week because we didn't have a place to live, let alone a computer to edit on.
Yeah.
And we did a big fundraiser for him. Community came out amazing. But
awesome.
I did that video 2 weeks ago, and I realized while I was doing that video, I got this thing open. I can open Lightburn. Shout out to Joe over at Lightburn for helping me out with some stuff on that side.
They're great over there.
But I realized, what the heck am I doing? This thing that'll lead me into probably a good portion of this show with questions, because like you do things like frequency. How the heck do I know what frequency to use between a coin like this or a plastic case like this? Like, I mean, laser and 3D printing is a lot of testing, right? But
it's
there's got to be like a guide.
A lot of testing, but there's rules. Yeah. So so if you're watching this and you're not Jim, go check out the laser everything. It's called the Lightburn for Galvo crash course. Okay. The very first video in there is called Everything You Need to Know About Galvo Lasers. That is your ticket. Go watch it. I say that every time we start answering questions. So I'm just putting that out there now. Frequency is weird, right? Because everything that we've ever used before is just it's speed power, right?
Yep.
Frequency, we have frequency because the Galvo laser is a pulsed laser. So unlike everything you've used before, this doesn't just turn on and brrr, like a sunbeam across. Like it's pulsing. It's turning on and off really, really fast. The frequency is how fast those pulses are occurring. And the faster you go, the smaller they get because you have to fit more of them together. So the impact is much harder at lower frequencies than it is at higher frequencies. So when trying to carve out the inside of a coin, it would make sense to use a lower frequency because you're getting those nice big punches. And if you're trying to do something like plastic, a higher frequency is going to do better for you because you're getting a bunch of little taps, right? And we're just trying to barely kind of affect the surface there. And of course, that's a hyper simplification, but that's kind of the general rule. And it makes a huge difference, as I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you guys have the Laser Master Academy, right?
Yep. LMA, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely a member. And thank you. You guys have like the libraries on there. And that helps a lot. Yeah. And I should know this, but I've never had to deal with this before because I've never cared. But can I have a CO2 library living with a fiber library at the same time? Or do I have to flip them?
In Lightburn?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
have two libraries loaded.
We just answered this last week on the podcast, and we haven't published the edit on that one yet.
I was gonna say, I missed it?
Yeah, man, I did a little demo and everything. So basically, once you open a machine in Lightburn, like a CO2 laser, and you have your library there with your CO2 settings.
Yep.
If you go in and like force it to save, you do a save as, you name that the name of the machine, and then you load up your fiber laser. Okay. Same thing. Load in your fiber laser library, do a force save as, save that to the same folder with the name of the machine, Then when you swap back and forth between machines, Lightburn
Got
will
it.
swap back and forth between the
Boom.
libraries for
That's
you.
what I was missing. I wasn't doing the save part.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
I have two windows open.
Yeah.
And it's great till I close them, right?
Yeah.
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 By default, it'll do is it'll go back and it'll just default to the last machine that had a saved library, essentially.
Yeah.
Another
Is it
pro
for
tip.
layers to the layers at the bottom too.
What
because,
about it?
Because like say I'm doing fiber work, for instance, I made this coin, and then today I jumped on the CO2 and the same layers were set on the, I chose my CO2, loaded up like I normally do through the artwork in, but those 3 layers I was using were set for the fiber parameters.
That's one thing that won't change. So you still have to
Oh.
apply the library parameters.
Keep
Yeah.
them in
on, Joe.
use the libraries. And another pro tip for you though too, Jim, if you right click Lightburn and just click the Lightburn logo again, it will open up 2 instances of Lightburn. You can literally run your CO2 and your fiber at the same time. I don't know if you knew that.
What I've been doing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Because I like to run them both at the same time.
Right.
When I'm
Maximize that time.
I shout out to J Mac, like super cool dude, worked with me for like an hour explaining some stuff about coins, walked me through a whole coin because I was itching to try one.
Yeah.
And shout out to him. I got pictures that are way better than this, but let's see if we can focus.
Ooh, yeah, look at that.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Shout out if you know what this is from, by the way. Extra bonus points. But so there's that, and it's got some really good depth. And then I was able to do, let's see, probably like this. I don't know, that in the back. Let's see.
Oh, wicked.
I actually saw your post this morning too. I was like waking up and having coffee, and you were like, "Oh, the cleanup pass. I forgot the cleanup pass with the lines." And I was
what? I was just gonna bring that up right now. I was so excited to get this off the machine last night. Right, I went in, and it's instinctive to reach in and grab it.
Yep.
And before the opposite side, I saw the lines, and I was like, I know what I did. I forgot the cleanup pass at the very end. And what I did was the cleanup pass on the first side was set to like 0.2 line or something. Like it was something crazy because I was doing your testing, and you guys use those big chunky lines. I forgot to change it. So then in my cleanup pass, it was like just line,
Oh, yeah.
So I fixed that to what J-Mac told me to use, right?
Yep.
I got back, forgot to run it on this side, and then I pulled that coin off, and I'm like, God bless it. Rookie mistake. It was a rookie mistake.
You
But
did.
We've all done it, man.
Yeah. Once you pull them, and it's like,
exactly. You're not lining that back up.
yeah, no.
And unless you want to clean the whole top of the coin off, you could do that. But then,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Damn
Yep.
it to hell.
Yep.
Yeah. And you just get excited. And for me, I'm like, this is if you guessed it, I don't know if anyone did. It was the show Supernatural. This was just some symbols. One was like to stop you from being possessed, and this one was like the devil's trap or something.
Yeah, dude.
And
demon trap, right?
yeah. And
demon trap.
It is.
I know.
I think it was. I think this
Going to the
particular
crossroads,
one.
dude.
I think this
Oh, the
one. This
crossroads.
particular one was
Shout
the
out to my
devil's
boy
trap.
Dean.
But I want to do the demon's trap too.
I thought it was Godsmack at first.
By the way,
that's pretty close too. Yeah.
speaking of awful things
Yeah,
here,
thank you for throwing that up. So
sparkling ice budget, Alex.
the only reason that I don't have the sparkling ice right now, and I'm drinking this disgusting sugared beverage, is because my Amazon subscribe and save is not set to a high enough frequency, which I'm just now learning because it's my first month on that. So I'm going to double my dosage of sparkling ice next month, and then hopefully I won't be doing this again. Sorry. Shout out to Coca-Cola.
Thank you, first world problems for that.
What I got? I got the bubbly today.
Dude, the bubbly,
there's,
the bubbly.
yeah.
Chris loves the bubbly. My brother loves bubbly, dude. He's all about it.
I have that, and I have like a giant water here too. So there's that.
The water's the way to go, really.
I'm
when
rocking
you
the
mentioned-
ginger tea and the Pepsi.
When you mentioned demon traps, I thought of sparkling ice, and I remembered, oh yeah, there it is. It's Alex's demon trap. You get his soul.
How much time do you think that you've put into the OMTech?
Oh man, not enough, not nearly enough. It's I think the challenge is content because we're creating content, trying to keep the YouTube machine fed.
Yeah.
But I'd probably say besides burn time, I'm not going to count that because that's just it doing its thing, right? But like just learning, I probably have a however long the first like 3/4 of your playlist is in videos, and then maybe a couple hours. It's not enough to be 100% honest. I mean, I have a lot of like 2 hours with J Mac or hour and a half with J Mac. I talked to Kyle for a bit the other day too, and talked to you, and I think that's part of the challenge. Just like with any machines, I don't have enough time to work on a single one for a long time, but I'm gonna put the time in for that because it is such a cool machine, man. Such a cool machine.
Have you looked inside yet?
I haven't.
No, you haven't? Okay, that's what I really want an update on that when you do it. I want to hear about what you think about like its assembly and like the wiring and things like that. There's
so what should I look for? Because to me,
Kyle,
I could look into it and be like, I saw what the M7, the JTP M7, the controller looks like and stuff. But other than that, like I'd look in it and be like, cool, I can rebuild a computer. That's what I do normally during the day, right? I work on computers. I can do that in 5 seconds and name all the parts. But if I open this one, I'd be like, I don't know what this crap is.
Yeah.
So we kind of go by a lot of what I would expect would be probably the same rules that you would see in 3D printing, right? So you don't want to see like not necessarily right and wrong, but like, how tinned wires are kind of frowned upon in the 3D printing world because of the vibrations if it loosens up. So you don't want to fire. Well, it's kind of the same with 3D printing. You still have moving parts. It still creates vibrations, and you don't necessarily want that to become a fire hazard. So that is something that I look for in my reviews, at least. And it's probably, so I have a unit from CommMarker. Admittedly, it's a pre-production unit that I knew it was coming this way, but it came that way because they were in a rush to get it to me so I could check it out. But I'm going to be doing a little guide on, just snipping the ends of the wires and putting on,
nice
fork connectors and
Are you going to use ferrules or forks? Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Brian Vines is probably not watching, but he's in 3D printing world. He's the ferrule guy. Like he checks every single machine, so, like just to make sure it's done right. That's good to know. I'll have to pop it open and snap some pictures or something.
I was gonna say Kyle was very ready for that the other day. We were talking about it, and he was like, "Nothing leaves without this."
The other thing that you really don't want to see is the fiber optic cable that actually carries the laser from the source inside of the box up to the like emitter and the galvoscan head inside the actual like laser source box. Not the laser source box, but the container that it's in. The big box. People will either wrap the excess wire up into like really tight coils and zip tie them together, or they'll run them around the outside of the box, or they'll tie them in knots. You don't want anything except for the slightest of curves. Right? Really tight coils and like tucked things and pieces like that are really bad because it's a fiber optic cable, right? It's glass, it's literal glass. And we've seen a lot of machines from different brands come back where it's literally right next to the laser source. There's like a little opening, and then immediately the fiber optic cable goes like 90 degrees, and the beam actually just blows out the side of the cable.
Really?
Into the case. Yeah, because the light wavelength just won't bend like that, and so it just starts exiting the fiber optic cable like out the side. Super dangerous. So things like that, things that look, if it looks fishy, man.
But I don't have to wear my glasses. I don't have to wear my glasses when that happens, right?
I mean,
if I don't know if you've ever seen like if you ever seen the hoses with like the light source in them. So when the water shoots out of the hose, the light source follows the curve of the water.
Once it's around,
But if you break the stream with your finger, the light will bend out of the water. It kind of does the same thing with a fiber optic cable and light. So if you form a break in that glass line, it'll start to protrude out of that break, and problems.
Problem. So Skyrider's asking which Omtech models you guys are talking about, trying to search and follow along. Do you know which model you got off the top of your head?
Yes. It's the 30-watt MOPA. So if you go to Omtech's website and go to fiber lasers, they have an M series or MOPA series.
Yep.
And it's the 30-watt. I'm not sure exactly what the actual model is called, but that's the one. And actually, I have. Let's see here. I can just show you this. So this is shared real quick. That's a picture of while I was unboxing it. But that red though.
Yeah,
something about that red.
That red. Yep, it's clean.
The newer finish that they have on those is pretty cool.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm going to take this off now. I'm going to look inside of there because
that's the thing
where
to do.
They got the wire loom on it here, right? But where it comes in, it shouldn't be wrapping around a bunch of times. It should just be.
I mean, it can wrap around as many times as it wants to.
Just not tight.
Yeah, we just don't want. They coil it up. I don't know why they coil it up. You'd think they would know better. Wraps, big turns are okay.
Sure.
Tight turns are not. That's kind of the rule of thumb there.
I'll check
but
that out.
dude, it looks great. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about it too, because it sounds like you want to play with it more, and I can't blame you for it.
By the way,
what is? Let me see if I can find this piece.
While you're finding it, I'm going to remind people, if you're having fun with us in gym, don't forget to smash the like button because we're at the halfway mark with 73 people on our stream and only 31 likes. So definitely let people know what's going on. There you go.
Smash it, guys.
Come on, hit that button.
Smash.
Also, here's a fun little comment. So what you're saying is I need to get a CO2 laser so I can run them both at the same time.
That's clearly what I heard.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Consumer Firing Design won a Bamboo Lab printer recently from Hotmakes, and I made a comment earlier that they did not have great luck with 3D printing, and then they got that machine and they that all turned around. So
I've heard
and that definitely is a thing. It's
So
all
it's not
about
luck.
when you're starting this, if you're starting lasers or 3D printing, filing your nails, it doesn't matter what it is. If you have something to help you make it easier, like your channel's videos, right?
Yep.
That helps you get into the world of it, right? And then if you have that machine that just, I can put a parameter in and see the result, and it's not like a bajillion extra steps. It's something about simplicity when you're first getting into something that says a lot. And that's, the Bamboo Lab printer is exactly what that is, because you throw it in the slicer. It's all presets if you want to use those, which I most of the time do. I select a preset. I say slice. I choose one of the 6 of them I want to send it to, and I shoot it to them.
Yeah.
Period. Like, that's it. You know what I mean?
Wild.
And I don't care about all the other stuff. And there's so many options you can do, and I use some of them. But the thing is, you just want that thing, whether it's the laser keychain you just created, whether it's a coin for the first time, the leatherette we were talking about before the show. Like, you just want that to come off, and you want to see it in your hands done. There you go.
Yep. I was about to click this one too. Who clicked this?
I did. Yeah. Too old to be gaming says I bought a P1P for my 82-year-old mother. She prints nonstop with it.
That's
awesome. You're making a real case for me to really want an X1 Carbon or a P1P or something.
It really depends on.
He's been jonesing for that, bro.
Yeah. The rumor is they're making a big one, and I don't know anything about that yet, but there's rumors. There's always rumors, right?
I've been looking into getting set up with a bigger one for doing a jig guide at some point.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Did you? I see you still have a share up, Jim. Did you find you were looking for?
I did.
Yeah,
so there's this piece that came with it.
Okay.
I have no idea where to put it.
Okay.
There's nothing in the instructions.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So it's this little piece right here. So
easy.
It's a handle with the spring and it screws down in
on your tower, right? You know how you have the wheel to turn it up and turn it down. So where that intersects with the laser path, that cross beam that holds the galvo head, wherever that is on the other side of the tower, there's a little hole. And if you screw the handle into the hole, you can lock the galvo head into position.
Okay.
So that it doesn't move up or down.
That makes sense. So there's three holes because the side of this one actually has a monitor mount that you can put on it. So there's 3 holes, and that makes sense why there would be 3, right?
Right.
But I don't know if it's the bottom 2, the top 2 I use for the monitor mount, and is it usually towards the top then?
Which one?
The the actually screw down the tightening piece?
Well, I don't have one with a monitor mount.
The machine that I have with it goes in almost at the top.
Almost at the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost. Yeah,
Good.
it's in like the top quarter.
I'll look for that.
I don't use it.
Yeah, it's really good if you're jigging things and you're doing a bulk production of one
Very
item.
long run, yeah.
And you don't want it to
like
move,
across
right?
days.
Is that what's
Right.
going on?
Like ever.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one more question.
Okay.
Let me see. Hang on. Let me pause this. I'm assuming y'all tried this. I saw a video. I had to try this. Is this like a rite of passage? Is this the thing?
Oh yeah.
Clean up a coin.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool. One of the first things we ever did with our fiber laser was actually drill holes into pennies, and then we let kids engrave their names on them at the Maker Fair, the Rochester Maker Fair, and they had a blast with it. But yeah, dude, you got to go through. You got to clean up some coins. You got to de-rust something.
Dude,
Yeah.
like I
had
found
to.
an axe that I've used for so many years out in the backyard, like, you know, just hacking up stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when I first started, I was like, wait, so I can take this off now? And like just layers of rust coming off. And I was just like, oh, it's
Clean up.
amazing.
We're-
Marvelous.
She's pretty.
I have questions about other things that you do before we get to that. We
Yeah.
kind of breezed over CO2.
Yeah.
You have a CO2 coming too.
I
Well,
have.
has it arrived?
So I've had a few now. I started with that blue and white 50
Yep.
watt, the Chinese 50 watt that I got. Great. It got me into it, and I love that thing. It was super deep too. Like that
Like
was
a-
cool.
Like
Now,
a sick puppy.
it wasn't powered, so you were like, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
you know, it took you 30 minutes to it took a minute to go all the way down or something. But then I had one of those like Make Block Laser Box Pros.
Right.
It was okay, but it didn't use Lightburn, and their software sucks. So don't buy that laser. And then
We covered that
What did
recently.
I actually sold that to a guy because I bought that full. I said it in my video. I paid shipping and tax on that laser. I sold it to a guy for exactly what I paid for because those were expensive lasers. I think it was $1,000 or something stupid, and he uses that at school.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
That's cool.
And then I got the Weak Cloud laser, the Weak Cloud Pro or whatever they call it.
Right.
Basically the same thing, but you can use Lightburn. Not a bad machine, but not exactly what I was looking for
These
compared
are
to my
all
blue and white.
your lists so far. Besides your original laser, is like
Yeah.
they're all hyper compact, like
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
simplified, slimmed down. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I was watching your stream one day and like a marathon stream, like 4.5 hours or something. You guys unboxed the Light Object Ranger 3. And I was like,
Mm-mm.
now that looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to you and asked you how you liked it. And you said you did.
Sick.
And I literally emailed Marco, like out of nowhere. I guessed at his email.
Yeah.
I totally guess. And I was like, hey man, this is who I am. I love this. I saw it on Alex's channel. And you know, now I have one sitting in my garage in the
It's
shop.
there.
Nice.
I didn't even know it arrived.
It's here.
Yeah.
And it is freaking awesome.
Cool, dude.
So from your videos, not gonna lie, I didn't know it had feet. I've never seen the feet before.
I took the feet off.
You
I
did.
removed
That's
the
why I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, I pulled
Well,
the feet off.
Because you said it sat on the table you have it, the folding table, right? I think you said yours was on before. I'm not sure if it still is.
It is not. That was a no.
Yeah.
It ended up on like one of those wood top Work Pro workbenches. Yeah.
And
It has like those thin like leg strips before the actual feet.
right.
You know, and mine just sits on the table,
Nice.
and that does fine. I put some weather stripping on it. It's like kind of grippy, you know. Does the trick, dude. Does the trick. I didn't like the feet.
Well, I measured and I was like, this is gonna fit. I have one of those like big, huge industrial shelving things.
Yeah.
And that's where I was keeping my CO2s, you know. So I had a shelf above it, a shelf under it, and then my CO2
A
laser.
stack of CO2s.
Well, no, they were all on one level, but
Okay, right.
store stuff above them, and you know, and when I got it, I was like, oh, these have feet. This is amazing, you know, and that was one of the coolest things. Now that video is not up yet because that's one of the next ones that didn't get edited yet.
Yeah.
Because of Tornado. But I love it, man. I'm digging the Trosen controller.
Dude, yeah.
First
They're
time
nice.
using one.
They're fun.
Sexy.
Yep.
And there's so many cool things, but I have to ask you, how many times have you left something on the freaking bed at auto homes when you turn it on?
Oh, and I
you crash it.
Yeah, you crunch, dude. All the
Damn
time.
it.
All the time. And that I have Ruitas that do that. Like the Eon does that, and
Mine does that.
I crunch on that too all the time. I still have not learned. So many lasers later, just never figured.
I have the habit of throwing stuff on my CO2 bed when I'm like moving things around the shop because this is like a 50 square foot shop, so it's tiny. So I have a habit of throwing stuff on there, and one of the first times I did that was with a laptop.
Oh no!
Smash right into the laptop.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
Well, this is my first motorized Z. I mean, the Gui Club Pro has the head inside that goes up and down, right?
Yeah.
But the whole bed doesn't move. And in this case, I totally didn't even think about it the first time. It had a coaster under it, which isn't at the end of the world, but I was just like, what is that? Oh my God.
I'm thinking now through your list of CO2s, is this your first one with a beam combiner? Where you're getting the red dot through the nozzle?
Yeah, the
so helpful.
one I had, the first one I bought, which my buddy Trent has now, I gave it to him. I'm making space. I gave away, I got rid of the other 2 lasers I had just because this one was coming and it was going to take the place of both, right? But it had the one that mounts on the actual laser head and shoots down, and it had like
the angled red dot.
And I kind of dialed it in a little bit.
Yeah,
I
so
barely
bougie.
used it. But this is the first one I've had with the beam combiner. It is sick.
It's sick.
It's sick. I was just gonna see. Let's see. I think
I can't wait to watch your video about it now. I'm super stoked. They just rock, dude. I mean, like, you've opened it up. Have you seen the inside panels?
Yeah,
like how well everything's working. I keep harping on that to my audience. It's just like how much I love like the relays, and then it's like power supplies, and then like and they're all in a row. They're all right there. You can just touch them. You know, nothing's buried under the bed or like hard to get to. I'm just so stoked on them, dude.
It's gorgeous. And by the way, if you want to turn it on, it's down here. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing looks really nice. It performs. I haven't had a lot of time on it. And I've had it for like a little over a week. So it just got it. Not had a lot of time on it, but they sent me that. They sent me the 600, what is it? Q600 cooler.
Oh, nice.
Their chillers are nice too, dude.
Which is plenty for this thing. And it has been cold here in Wisconsin, so it's probably never even cooled anything. Actually, when I turn it on, it yells at me because there's a low temp error. And I usually keep my shop at 50 currently. When I'm going to be in there, I raise it to 60 when I'm in there.
Oh my God, you guys are insane with your cold temperatures.
That's what happens when you live up in the north, man.
You just ride an alligator to work. It's fine. It's okay.
So it is awesome, but like you said, everything. I thought I had some pictures actually, like you were talking about all the panels. It's just so cool how they, how they have all the panels next to each other. You can open everything, you can get to everything, which is huge.
It's huge.
It's huge. That's a big thing. And
Cubing Cracked asking a question about cost on that. Anybody remember the units?
It's a little over 4.
It's like it's like 4,300 and change or something.
Yeah, it's on sale right now for 40.
It depends on what accessories you get with it. If you get the upgraded tube,
a lot of bang for your buck,
and it's out of stock.
It is out of stock currently, and that I saw last. And also, get the chiller if you can, because you're going to need one anyway. A bucket is what I was using for the other the blue and white, right? But then I saw, I think it was Louisiana Hobby Guy, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it was him. He did like this mod where he used like a little desktop ice machine, and he ran a pump into it, and then the hose, like I lasered the holes for the hose and everything right in there.
So much work.
And he filled it with distilled water, and you turn it on, and it produces ice every 6 minutes. Freaking genius! If you're in a pinch and you don't have a chiller, it worked. A matter of fact, I had to be careful because it got so cold. It was like in the 60s or 50s because I had a temp, thermometer in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is probably a little too cold at some point. But when you ran it for like an hour, you might get 80, 85, and I'm like, I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. But so if you're in a pinch, check that out because it was a genius idea. Desktop ice maker. So here's a question. Oh, go ahead.
The Q6, I just want to extra shout out for those chillers. The Q600, the Q800, the Q1600 are all super badass. I don't know if you saw it, but I just uploaded a video on my channel where we poured boiling hot water through one, and it like cut the temperature in half in one pass after being on for like 60 seconds. I mean, it's like crazy. So they're really good. But yeah, question. And this thing.
This I believe is what I got for the focus stick. I was asking you, I think I said, like, what's your focus? Because I called them even. Like I called them on the phone. By the way, you can call them on the phone if you have issues, by the way. They told me to use this as the focal stick. And then also you can take your lens out with it. They told me.
That's true. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm very close to this. When I did a couple of ramp tests, like I did 4 ramp tests in a row, like I'm just going to figure this out.
Yep.
And this is probably what I would have chosen, but it's not 6 millimeters like the manual says and like you use. So my question is, should I try 6 millimeters to see what happens? I mean, this is too big. I mean, that's too big.
I mean, you could. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I would cut your own focal stick. In the meantime,
I did. So I actually I've been using this. And I wanted to have, I knew we were going to be here today. So I was like, I'm going to talk to you first. But I usually have been cutting them out of acrylic and just letting it fly. But
Yep. I do the same thing. I don't even know where most of my manufacturer focal sticks are anymore. I like dial mine in and cut my own right out of acrylic. And that's usually how I do it. That said, you could try it, but I got a completely different setup from you. So like mine came, and of course, we're having our show with you right after I just moved all my lasers back out of the home office, back to the shop. The movers were literally here yesterday. We moved all the lasers back to the shop because we're moving to a new house and it's like a whole thing. But mine came with a little metal disc. And when you turn it like flat ways and stick that under the nozzle, it's perfect. And it's on point. It's like right where it needs to be. Yeah. I didn't make any adjustments to that focal distance at all. And it was like 5.93 millimeters. Like it was like it's 6 millimeters. So I don't know, but that long part, you definitely want that key because if you pull that nozzle out of the third mirror, right, and you look inside of it, all the way down inside is your lens, and there's a little like pressure like screw cap.
Got it.
Stick the key down there and use that to unscrew that in order to get the lens out. So definitely
perfect. That's good to know. I wonder if I missed the disc somewhere. I'll double check everything. Again.
Double check for the disc. Dude, I remember in the unboxing video you were talking about watching the live one, the super long one. I hold it up to the camera and I'm like, what the heck is this?
Well, then I think you used something else initially and you're like, this isn't in focus.
Yeah, totally. And dude, I haven't gotten to play with the Ranger enough either, but we have like 10 minutes left, dude. I want to
holy cow.
Refocus.
Oh, geez.
I know. Time's flying. Talk to me about Hotmakes a little bit. Like what do you guys do over there? I was on once. I was confused because I'm me. I brought chaos. Now, if you want to see
it's good.
Terrible episode of Hotmakes, go watch my episode because I bring this chaos to Hotmakes. What do you guys do over there? What's the deal?
We this started a long time ago.
It's an
basically
old show with a lot of episodes.
Yeah, well, I started by myself, and then we brought in Pooch and I got together, and we started this Hotmakes, and it was basically the same show called something different. We rebranded, and we've done like 143 episodes now. I think every Monday, pretty much. And we haven't hit all of them. There's holidays and stuff like that, but basically, we do this, and then we talk about stuff that the community's done. For instance, you guys always have people showing off like stuff they burn and with the lasers, stuff like that. So we would bring it up and just say like, this person, check this out, you know, and we just go through the community. If you're on Twitter, use hashtag Hotmakes and it'll shoot to me automatically. And then I usually pull it up, and then we have guests on just like we had you on. And it's a way for us to hang out. I don't have time to look at social media to see what everybody's doing. So it's a way for me to see some cool stuff because I don't have time for that. With the little guy, with work, with the channel, with trying to actually play with the stuff I have too, I don't have time. Right. And it's just a way for us to kind of give back too, because people love seeing their stuff on shows like this. Just like we had somebody asking about a question I saw in the chat. We're definitely not ignoring you, and I think we feel the same way, right? They love their questions being answered, they love their stuff being shown, and I do too. Like my little coin, I was super excited to post that, and it's just a coin, but but basically that's what we do. We bring guests in, we have fun every Monday night. It's 6 p.m. Central.
Perfect. Yeah, cool.
And you can find it by typing Hotmakes, all one word, into pretty much.
And it's not just like 3D printing. There's guys literally like the entire makerspace is on.
We try
here.
to.
I've seen a lot of coverage.
Because of the channel, a lot of 3D printing stuff happens because that's what mostly the channel is based on, right?
Sure.
But we try everything: metalworking, woodworking. We've had all sorts of stuff on there, and it's pretty much fair game. You see anything cool at all, just tag it because we're gonna look. And it's just a fun show. It's work to produce it, and Caleb does an amazing job in the background helping with that. He's actually jumped in as like a co-host now too, and it's so much fun though, just to talk about what the community does, show off some community prints, and and just talk for an hour on a Monday.
The production value is very high, and I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed by like what you guys pull off.
Stuff.
I do like I throw all my BS in after. So we go live. I literally just start the stream and I'm like, "What's up, guys?" And that's it. And then I take it down and I edit it and re-upload it. You guys just like commit, and you have all your graphics, the music, everything's done live. I mean, it's like fully produced. It's really, really, really cool.
And Streamyard makes it super easy to do that. So as long as you guys see it on your side, we just throw it all in Streamyard, and Caleb knows when to hit the buttons, and I let him do that now. Like, we started out and I was doing all that stuff too, and we needed somebody eventually because I started realizing I wasn't paying attention to Pooch like I should, because I was so focused on comments and hitting the buttons and stuff like that. He'd be like, "Yeah, this thing, I burnt my house down," and I'd be like, "Cool, man, that's awesome." And he's like, "What?" He didn't really. I'm just just using it as an example.
Yeah, but did you see this comment here? Like,
but that's it. So we definitely, I'm glad we brought Caleb on when we did, and it was super cool to have somebody in the background just running that while we do this. And you guys, you have a tight group every week, and it's cool that you guys kind of help each other out with that. It seems like, I don't know that for sure on my side, but that's what it feels like.
Chaos.
I don't even know these guys.
I stand by it. Chaos. So that's cool, dude. And we've got, obviously you have a ton of content coming out on your channel. You just bust an ass over there like all the time.
I try a video a week now. This past Sunday was the first time this year I haven't done that, and it was just because I needed to give Caleb some time. And I was too lazy to edit my own video. So
I'm hunting right now. I'm looking for an editor. I think the guys have been asking me, and my wife has been asking me for a very long time to get an editor, and that has been the last little piece of this that I just cannot let go of, to let go of control of that. And I think I finally just hit like a wall, and I need to take that hat off and give it to somebody else. So I'm gonna join you in that soon. It's got to be nice, right? Not having
it's really nice. So the goods and bads, right? It's amazing to be, hey Jerry, I see on there. It's amazing to be able to film and then shoot a video over and then have like, hey, I'm going to post it this date. Can you have it ready by this date kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Where it gets you is that not all the time can you say, this thing just came out. The newest, latest, greatest laser just came out. I want to film it, edit tonight to release tomorrow because it's new. You know, on YouTube, everything's about being the first person or one of the first. And then really that's kind of true. But in most cases, there's so many of us. I say watch them all. Watch everything you can on a product you're looking for, because Alex may have a different experience than I have.
Yeah.
We may have the same experience on a Ranger 3s, but he has a different take because he has different experiences than I do. And so where I'm like, dude, this thing is shiny and white. It burns everything I want it to burn. The engravings are amazing. You're like, you should check out Under the Hood because this is in its place. All of this, you know what I mean? So like you put that together.
Alex takes out a microscope. Let's really look at this.
True story. True story. But so, you know, I think it's important to get, but that's where it gets you, because you can't just film something unless it's like one of you guys, right? You can't just film something and then expect it to be done in the morning when you could have stayed up and done it yourself.
Right.
Now that being said, I've asked that of Caleb a few times, like, hey man, if I do this today, can you burn it tonight to get it out ASAP? And he's gone along with it, but it's a lot of time to edit a lot of times, you know, especially my rambling. So
yeah, dude, you know, that's part of the problem over here is like, I'll shoot a video in a day and then I'll spend like just between kids and like the new baby come and move, like all this stuff constantly, plus everything. We have all these other communities that we have to manage too, not just YouTube. And the edit takes 2 weeks. You know what I mean? If I just sat down and just done it, like I probably could have done it in 8 hours, 15 hours, whatever, but that's not how life works. And that's not how community management works. So it's time. So I'm glad to hear that overall it's positive.
Caleb. He has a full-time job. He does that for work too. So he actually has to find time after his job, which is doing the same thing to edit. But it's awesome though, because it frees you up, right? So you can I can film a video today and know that it's going to be edited and ready to go when I want to post it next Sunday or this Sunday or whatever, you know what I mean? And the other thing is I got to pre-plan. So because he has certain days that he can edit, if I want to release on Sunday, I need to have everything to him the Sunday before.
Right.
That way he has the week to get it to me. I always ask for my videos on Friday if we can, right?
Right.
So that's another thing that I'm really trying to get better at is pre-planning my videos, not just like this today, right? And you know, I think it's really awesome though, because it frees you up. And if you find somebody that is in the style you like, that's another thing. That's the big thing is you got to find someone that Caleb his editing is kind of the character of my videos besides me talking, right?
Yeah.
he does the things,
it, dude. It's so much. Yeah, it carries so much weight. Yeah.
And if you get somebody that's just your videos, it could be like, I'm going to give every one of you $1 million. It could be that awesome, a Mr. Beast style video. And then you have somebody edit it that doesn't mesh with you. And
it's the visual medium of your storytelling, because that's kind of what you're doing. Is here's my product, here's what I think about it, here's how it made me feel. Like that's it.
Your wife just said the third kid pushed you over the edge. I like that.
That wasn't what did it, but we'll say it was.
So
just so you know, we've got 2 minutes, 2-minute warning before we're at an hour. And if you want to plug anything, I would like you to plug away, sir. We do have links to just so much of your stuff down in the description.
Yeah, I mean, like, check out the channel, obviously. Hotmakes on Monday is a big thing. We love people coming over there. We just have fun with that. I think the biggest thing is instead of taking time to plug my stuff, do you have questions we can answer? Like, can we do that?
Yeah,
let's shoot them back to the community, man. I think this whole thing, all of us here, is because of the community.
I know it's so ridiculous, dude.
I appreciate you guys giving me the time to be here, but they're here watching, man. Let's answer some questions if you guys want to keep going.
It's nuts. Yeah, I'm chill, dude. I every week I'm just like I look at the LMA, the Laser Master Academy that we mentioned earlier, 2,900 subscribers.
That's awesome, man.
It's 2,900 people
That's
that
so
are
good.
like, here's $8 every month.
Yep.
And every time I look at that, dude, I'm just like, what the hell? You know, like it's like bone chilling almost. Like that there's like that many. That's a lot of people, dude.
As an outsider to that, right? I pay my subscription. I didn't ask you for one. I didn't even tell you I was subscribing.
I didn't even know you were subscribed until you mentioned it like 5 minutes ago.
Right. So the thing is, like, as an outsider into that, this is the community is different that you have because the people who are there are paying to want to be there.
Right.
So you don't have the garbage that you see on some of the forums and Facebook pages because you have these people that can come on and say whatever they want because these people are here. Here's $8. I want you. I value your content. I value what you're giving me. In return, I'm going to be here to help people most of the time because that's the community you guys have built. Yeah. And I appreciate that because it's not an easy thing to do, for one. And for two, again, people are when you pay to be a part of something, you're a lot less likely to just like blow up and crap all over everybody.
The value
like
is more inherent.
The community is much tighter because everybody wants to be there,
and everybody made a sacrifice to be there. Yeah, however small, you know what I mean? However small, however, you know, $8 a month.
All right.
And by the way, really quick before we do those, I have to shout out Kyle down here because Kyle is 99% of the face behind the Laser Everything support account on the LMA. So if you've had a question or a concern or some kind of technical problem that has been answered and has helped you somehow, it has probably not been me because I've been doing business stuff lately. It's probably been Kyle. So thank you, Kyle, for taking care of our LMA community, dude, because
happy to do it.
We would be so effed without you. So
thank you. I do have the BLD 0550. Jim, is the CNC you reviewed a couple years ago still on your channel? To be fair, I never even did a review of it. I did an unboxing. I love that. I have a Onefinity CNC Machinist. Is what the machine's called, Onefinity Machinist, and it's freaking phenomenal. Yes, it's still around, and yes, you'll see content this year on it. So just a heads up.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, and by the way, this was the question that people were asking about in the chat on the side, saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And it's from Neil saying, "Any thoughts on the X Tools P2, which is the thing that I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we had heard about it, but any information or thoughts?"
We were chatting about that one with Michael. It's the CO2, and I was like, it does neat party tricks, but I don't even have a price, and we don't know enough about it. You know, I want to know what kind of tube that thing is running. I think the last time I checked their website, it was still like those teaser videos that don't really show anything except
I think some people have them now.
Flips,
but I'm not sure. I saw one recently. It was like, this is the laser, and here's some videos from their channel, but I can't show you what the laser does yet. And I'm like, okay.
They are one of those. They like handle marketing kind of a weird way. I don't know.
Well, and this is,
I will tell you
since you're talking about price there you go.
Yeah, I don't. It has some cool stuff. I think it's going to be a cool machine if you're in the market for something that, like Alex says, does party tricks, but it will never do what a Ranger 3 can do.
It doesn't work with Lightburn.
It does work with Lightburn.
The P2?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, the party tricks.
Well, you know what?
That's
a good question.
The party tricks do not. Because that's part of like I just did the X Tool Pro, and like all of the party trick stuff is limited to X Tool Creative Suite. So the things like the rolling pass through, and everybody's
sweet,
like,
by the way,
super sweet, dude. You're not, unless Jason isn't telling me something, you're not doing that in Lightburn. You know what I mean? So just some things to keep in mind. This is almost the same price, if not a little more.
Well, and it's more. And so for the people who aren't watching this and are catching on the podcast, Neil also said to E2 Laser, they're having a discussion in the sidebar there. I should be ordering that this week with risers, auto pass-through feeder. The Pro Rotary comes in at 4,500 pounds, which E2 Laser later said is about 5,100 with shipping. And the mid-May is the 6 weeks out. Or is that 6 weeks?
No, I can't ever. I don't think it's going to be a bad machine. I think it's going to do. You could buy a Glowforge, and it's not going to be a bad machine.
Yeah,
it's just they're different machines, right? No
and does it
offense,
do what
but
you need it to do?
yeah, if it does what you need it to do, buy an Ortur. If you're just doing coasters and you don't have room, get yourself something to get going, because I promise you, just like a 3D printer, once you start, you're gonna be like, okay, I need this.
So, and I agree with you, because like you said, you got to use laser for your first CO2, and I did the same thing. I literally went on to the Boss Laser group because my brother owned 2436, which is like the medium grade to almost big boy, and he was like, hey man, I'm really digging mine, why don't you go on this group? You just type in Tampa. And so I typed in Tampa, and there was a guy who had one that was over across the state, but it was like a 3-hour drive. Threw it in the back of the F-150. Done.
Yeah.
Like had it in my house like a week later.
Nice. That's awesome. I can't fault anybody for wanting to start with anything used as long as it works.
Yep.
Because we'll put it this way. A lot of times, if you're like me, you'll get into a hobby and then you'll use it for like a couple months and never touch the thing again, right? You'll get super excited, you'll learn, you'll do it all, and then it'll go to the side because you're doing something different. If you buy that used, you're gonna have, it's a lot easier to leave that money than a $5,000 laser on the side of your, you know what I mean?
And that actually goes right into the next question that Scully238 asked. What's the best way, in our opinion, for someone to purchase a fiber laser that can't shell out the massive prices?
Ooh.
There's a couple answers to that one. Is it for personal or for business? If it's for business, you can start. Well, if your business is already running, cool. If it's not, start up a business and see if you can get a business loan.
Another thing,
because then you're open up. You're not stuck to one brand or one company that can do financing. You can go with anything.
Another thing I'll shout out too, because we were just talking about used lasers, and the LMA.
Yep.
The LMA, guys, it's so people are paying to be there. No, far less like scammy, dangerous situations.
Yeah.
We don't allow buying, selling, trading on any of our communities. We don't allow it on Discord. We don't allow it on Facebook, anywhere. But we do allow it on the LMA. Again, because those people are paying to be there. And fairly often, machines go up for sale in the buy, sell, trade there.
It's people who are us.
Yeah, at a decent discount. And I'm sure that those are negotiable. So that might be another place you want to check. If you want like a reliable place where you can look at.
And if you're looking at fiber, if you're not looking to do something crazy, probably like a coin like this, right? You can get started with one of those little they're making those little machines now that actually are 1064. They have that too. Yeah, I think there's a few of them now.
There's a couple.
The X Tool's coming out with is it the F1 or
the F1? Yeah.
If it ever shows up, like I've been promised for 3 months it was going to show up. It hasn't yet. Just a heads up. But that'll have a dual laser in it. It'll have a diode and a 1064, right?
Yep.
And then again, though, you're still spending $1,000. So do you look for one that's used and save your money a little bit? Or do you want to just get started? You know, because those are never going to do something the bigger ones are going to do, but they'll get you into it to see if you like it. Right.
Yeah. And that's also where you can, and again, we've talked about this. So there's financing is one option, but then like Jim just said, if you start here and you realize you can actually make money with this thing, you can pay this one off, sell that machine, take the earnings plus the price of your sold machine,
or make some stuff and earn the money for your next one.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's the thing. You guys know there's so much money to make from these things, even if it's just in your local community, because I mean, I don't do anything like massive like a lot of you guys might do. I have a little shop that we throw stuff in that, you know, is in a little town that it isn't very big or anything, but it's something fun for us to do. Yeah. And it keeps me learning new things to get new projects in there. Yeah. I don't get rich because that's not where I'm at. Right. Yeah. But I've thrown stuff on Facebook, like the groups, the buy sell trade groups and stuff. For like Christmas. I was doing these CNC lanterns. I sold like freaking 40 of them just from the buy sell trade groups. And, you know, for $2 in material, but I'm selling them for $25 a piece. that was a good deal.
a win.
By the way, right now at the end of the school year, like graduation stuff is huge. Where literally you can go buy foam board from Uline, the foam core board, and literally make signs for like $2 a piece that are 2 foot by 3 foot wide, and sell them for $40. Like CO23 gym.
Yeah.
And
don't forget your ventilation though. If you're
yeah. Well, I talked about that. Sure.
Yeah,
and that's one of those things where it's like, I mean, there's so many things you can do. Like you said, for like $100, you can turn that into $500 or $600.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yep. Yeah, if you have a basic machine, I don't care what it is, and a little bit of know-how and a little bit of money to get your first materials going. A lot of times you can pay for those materials to get more materials just by making some cool stuff.
Business.
Andrew here saying I'm right where Scully is. I want to jump in and go big with a fiber, but coming from a 40-watt CO2 Chinese machine, sticker shock is a real thing, especially when I want a MOPA. There are a lot of corners in the laser world that can be cut, and fiber's not an area where you should be cutting them. So make sure that you are spending the right amount of money on your fiber laser. Do not race to the bottom. You will regret it. Like, these machines are technically complicated enough. It's not just a gantry anymore with some mirrors. It's like there's a lot of stuff going on in these machines, guys. A lot of stuff going on in these machines. And when you cut too many of the corners to get the price down low enough, you start running into real problems with very little use. We've seen it here from our community many times. This is an area where you want to spend a minimum amount of money, and of course that's going to vary, that's going to change depending on what you're looking for, what you want to spend. So I'm not even going to spout off any numbers right now.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, if you get a low end like Tech knockoff red and black machine, you can put your hands in there and like fix it and make it do the things you want it to do with like a little grit and patience. You're not doing that with a Galvo laser. That's not how the situation works. You don't like go in and fix a Galvo scan head that's busted. That's just $600 out the window and you buy a new one. So be careful. That just my warning. I don't want to be like a party pooper on the low price stuff, but be careful with Galvos. Spend a medium amount of money.
And there's some good people. There's a couple people in the community that make pretty decent ones, right? I mean, I've seen a lot of is it Pascal or Pascal?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kyle has a laser from Pascal. Matt has a laser from
Yeah.
Pascal. And
Nice.
we've got a ton of great options that don't cost a fortune on our buying guide too. It's one of the resources on our website, which is great. And those we've all like literally torn those apart like piece by piece and gone over like the wiring and the fiber optics and the power supplies. I mean, like we've actually like ripped those to pieces. So there's lots of good action out there, especially from, like you were saying, local guys like Pascal on like our kind of laser communities and stuff like that. A lot of really great options. So if you see one and it's like Flying Kite Fiber Laser Design Company and it's like a 30-watt laser and it's $1,000, it's not the deal of a lifetime, dude. Like,
that's like the van that says free candy inside.
Dude, for real.
Don't do it. It seems legit.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, before we get too far, guys, get a second job. If you want it, go earn something.
Yes.
Stop. You don't have to finance stuff, man. I worked for a second job for a year. I didn't play no games. I said, if this is important, I will work hard.
Right.
And then you get that lump sum in your hand. You're like, okay, then you know if you're emotionally attached to this money and you've got enough balls to say, I'm going to go all in and bet on myself.
Yep.
Like to me, I got the best that I could afford because I didn't want to play games and tinker. I'm not a tinker. I do physical therapy. I do knees and hips. I don't. Yeah. No. But anyway,
this is a tinkerer of bodies.
Right. Well, no,
but if you just get a second job, man, you can get whatever you want.
100% agree. I was actually I was waiting for my chance to go in there. While I understand if you have to, like if it's something where you have no other option, great. I don't believe in I don't care if it's a 3D printer. I don't care if it's these Raycon earbuds, right? If you don't have to finance, don't, because what's going to do is you're going to put pressure on yourself to have to pay to earn it, like to own it, right?
What's up,
So
Matt?
save the money. It takes you a year. It takes you a year to get there, but in a year, you'll know if you still want that thing, and you're not buying a $5,000 paperweight that's going to sit in your garage and you're never going to use again, right?
True.
Yeah,
The
it's not
other
a
thing
damn
about that
treadmill.
is yeah, exactly. It's not like January at the gym, right, where you sign up and you never go again after March. but the thing is, though, for me, the big thing is, you just said it. You earned it. You made it. If you have any other lasers, sell some stuff to earn the money. But the other big thing is, do not, whatever you're looking at, don't go the cheap route like Alex said, and
Costs so much more,
don't
though.
go for the lowest power. So like inevitably, whether it's a 3D printer, it's a laser, a new phone, speakers, as soon as you start using them, you want more from it, right? You want to push it harder, you want to push it faster. Save the money, get the next step up from what you want. Because if you don't, in 6 months, you're going to be like, now I need to save $6,000 for this next step.
And it's funny you say that, because Willie Sims, which is one of our regulars, he literally, I don't know if you know him or not, but he did that. He got a 30 watt. And after like a couple of weeks, he was like, man, he's like, I could get it done so much quicker and I could do so much more. And then he ended up getting JPT when he saw the frequency and all that stuff. He either got the MOPE or the JPT, but he got a power source and he shipped it over from Pascal and had put it into his machine. And literally he was just like night and day, boom, like he's just knocking stuff out. But, but he also did what Boyce said, had a side hustle for his side hustle, and like paid for it with that. So, I mean, you got to move and groove.
But these days you can do anything. Drive Uber.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Start aggressively medium. Like aggressively
there you
medium.
go.
Oh,
Also,
there you go, Scully.
I paid my diode paid for itself in 3 weeks.
Dude, that diode will make some bank.
It will. It might take you 6 weeks to burn the 1,000 coasters you just got an order for, but you'll make good money, bro.
Yeah, when you make $3 a piece, there's your money.
I was selling coasters like as soon as I started doing that when I got my diode. You will not believe how many friends and family just from posting on your own Facebook page will look up and say, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It doesn't matter what it is. I love Metallica. Can you make those? I mean, should you and can you are a thing, right? But the thing is, like, you got to be careful with all that, right? But the thing is, people will start reaching out to you, and you could buy those coasters for super cheap, make them for 50 cents a piece or whatever it really costs, and sell the set for $25 for 4.
Yeah.
You do that a few times, now you got $100. Now you got $500, right? And those lasers will pay for themselves. Find a used one, make sure it works, and use your safety glasses.
Yeah. I literally went to IKEA. That's why, like, a friend of mine was like, how'd you pay off your first laser? And I said, I went to IKEA. I bought at the time, the little cheese boards were $5 for like, it was like $5.99. And I literally would put in like Jim's Kitchen. Yeah. And that's it, like Alex's Kitchen. And it was the same exact thing. But I would post it and say $25. And people would come over, and every time I would buy 5 for $25, and I sold 1 and paid for all of them. And then the rest were just profit. And I'm like, profit. Yes. Yeah.
I also,
we
mentioned on the podcast again, like a week or two ago, just a quick shout out to the Alex and Matts of the audience who buy things on credit because they need the pressure of the payment to succeed.
There you go.
It's a real phenomenon.
That's a thing. That's
that
a
Matt
thing.
and I talked about at length.
It's performance.
Dude, I swear to God, like when you know that payment's coming up, you hustle so much harder.
What's funny is right before I was actually doing a credit card payment, and I looked at that and I was like, I think I ended up. So if we're talking about a business finance in Laser, or was it Blonde Fox Creation said earlier, you have to have 2 years of being in business to get a finance loan. So that's accurate. So that's where I looked at it, and I actually did the math on it. I think I basically paid $180 in interest to have that thing at my door in 11 days. But it was also because I had my laser over here. I got a job for a large order that made it where this was worth getting. And it also took that job that was supposed to be a 10-hour job and turned it into a 4-hour job. So it's just boom. And then right off the bat, I knocked off like $1,500 of the whatever it cost that I got. I was like,
and that does not work for everybody.
No.
If Boyce financed his Mira, he would have been a horrible ball of stress and probably
he
had
would have
like
ripped all his hair off or
an
something.
aneurysm. Yeah. So I just wanted to acknowledge the people out there that thrive off of the gun to the head, because it exists.
Have a game plan,
Not
pay it off quick
recommended.
if you are going to do that.
Save for it first, man. That's the way to do it.
Sun Turtle Camper on my channel says,
just clicking it.
There you go, worker, and exactly for there. But the next comment, you cannot make a company built on family and friends. Listen,
I didn't see that one.
I apologize, but that's not correct. You start with family and friends. Word of mouth gets you outside of that circle of family and friends, and then you go from there. And you have to start somewhere, right? You're never going to make a single dollar if you don't burn that first coaster, if you don't make that first keychain. And who do you think's going to buy that? Your mom, your sister, your cousin, somebody out there that you see because you wrote their name that they spell super crazy and can't find anything else like it out there. Is going to buy that. And then they're going to say, look what I got.
Did you see what Jim made me? It's amazing.
There you go. I ran a DJ company for 15 years on word of mouth. And it started with a family and friends.
Yeah.
I made a lot of money. I wish I still made that money. I just wasn't worth the hours eventually. Yeah. But it started there, and you have to start somewhere. I'm not saying you're not going to live forever on your family and friends because they're only going to buy so much, right? Yeah. But you got to start somewhere.
My first recurring companies, first recurring purchases were from people who, it was like a former student of mine's mom was a realtor, and she was like, I want cups. Give me 30 cups. And I was just like, and like every couple of months. But it was recurring. She was like, I need those once a quarter. And I'm just like,
just to stack on top of that too, one of the things that we preach on our channel all the time is, or at least I don't want to speak for the other guys, is that you have to start with a local market and then expand to a larger online market. I feel like a lot of people want to skip that and just start selling online, and that's the much harder path, because selling things online costs money. Yeah. And if you have a local market of people that know you and are buying things from you, funding that online expansion, it is significantly easier. So just that would just be the next step. So from friends and family to local small business, from local small business to online seller, now you're national. And if you take the stairs instead of the ladder, it's easier to go up, so just wanted to throw that in too.
I gotta say, this comment caught my eye. This is actually a pretty cool idea.
That's
too.
Awesome.
Cutting fabric for seamstresses, that's
dope.
I could see that being just a cool thing you find out and just.
Back in 2020, Alex, weren't you cutting fabric for masks and stuff too?
Dude, yeah, I did when we did.
That's a good moneymaker.
We had nothing else to do. But this one guy rolled in one day with a wheelbarrow full of t-shirts. T-shirts, actual full size,
it works.
Gildan t-shirts. They're double XL, and he's like, I need you to cut masks out of these. And he gave me the pattern, and I just sat there and chopped masks out of t-shirts all day, every day. And he would just bring them in by the box, and we just cut them up. It was bizarre because they're good t-shirts. But
I never thought of that.
Mask.
I never thought of lasering fabric, to be 100% honest.
Yeah, the
CO2 is good for that.
Great job of cutting fabric. Yep.
I will say my first reoccurring jobs came from actually giving my sister a slate coaster, and that turned into, well, can you do that on something that doesn't shatter if we drop it? Because they had kids around. Absolutely, I could do that on cork, no problem.
Right,
cork. He loves
and a
cork. Friend
saw it, and then another friend saw it of their friends, and now I just keep getting asked for slate coasters and cork coasters.
So Sun Turtle Camper has been super patient asking this question twice, so I want to make sure we see it. Worker and consumer security always needs to be number one. What does the panel think about cheap lasers without enclosures and or air management? I think we've talked about this quite a bit before too.
Yeah, you can always do air management on your own, right? And you can always make your own enclosure. But you have to be cognizant of the safety concerns around it. And if you're sharing a space with somebody else, if you have kids that run around the house, if they want to come out and visit you while you're working in the shop,
Pets.
if your wife needs to walk through the garage workspace to get into the house on her way in from work, I mean, these are all liabilities. You don't want your significant other, family member, or child going blind, right? Or even just the thought of them going blind is bad. So you need to be cognizant of that. So
maybe I'd look better.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing.
Oof.
There's nothing wrong with those kinds of lasers as long as you take the necessary safety precautions. It's when you just unbox the thing and toss it on the desk and just use it like that. That's the problem. I wouldn't even argue that you need an enclosure. Just put your freaking safety glasses on your head. See, again, like 2 episodes for a rant about that. Just wear the glass. People will do anything to not wear safety glasses.
Well, the other thing is something that I think that some internal camper is not thinking about. We have a brand new fiber laser sitting in my garage. It's wide open, right? Same precautions need to be taken as the Artura Laser Master 2 that sits, 10 feet from it, because it's wide open. You're literally shooting that fiber laser with no enclosure currently. I'm going to make one, actually. I'm working on that. But you do have to be careful. Now, air is another thing. Do it in open air if you can, and get those fumes out of there, because especially like fiber, right? You don't want to breathe in this powder.
No, when that goes in, it doesn't come out.
So I'm actually upgrading mine, talking to Kyle about what he used and stuff. I had a 4-inch run going to it dedicated, and I was like, this isn't enough. So I just bought a 6-inch blower. I'm gonna bring it down to 4 at the laser. And stay tuned. Actually, I'm working with a guy named Trent, a good friend of mine. He's a super good modeler, Fusion 360 modeler, not a model. And we have I
Why
have
not both?
Super cool coming. I think it's super cool coming for the fiber lasers that not sure how he's going to give the files away, or if he's going to give them away, or how that's going to work yet. That's his deal. He's designed it. I said this would be sweet. J Mac was like, wouldn't it be cool if we had this? And I was like, I know a guy. So like, credit him too. But that'll be coming in a video, because I want to get that out there. But you got to get that air out. If you're burning pleather, don't do it. Like,
no.
Yeah, that was the question he had next.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. There's a laser safe leather that's called laser safe leather or leatherette. And if it's not called that, you should not be lasering it, because it's most likely polyvinyl chloride, and that gives off chlorine gas when you burn it, which will destroy you and your machine at an equally terrifyingly fast rate. So
So always don't cut it. It's not worth it.
Same thing with
vent.
ABS. Shout out to my boy ABS. It gives off hydrogen cyanide gas. Really nasty crap too. So vinyl of any kind, polyvinyl chloride, ABS, just stay away from them. People always do the thing where they cut records, bro.
Yeah, the record player, man.
The record cutters out there.
Guitar records.
They're cutting like classic records into like a bunch of different shapes, and it's dude, that's like the most dangerous thing you could possibly do with that machine. So stay away from that. And polystyrene, if we're making a list. Also, here is Medusa. This is the one part of my laser setup that has not been cleared out. So this is an 8-inch inline centrifuge fan that goes, it's adapted from 8 down to 6 down to 4, and then it has a 3-way 4 splitter that went to my galvo lasers, my CO2 laser, and my diode lasers. So even in like a small residential setting, because I'm just in my tiny apartment right now, like this, you really want to make sure you're getting those fumes out of your house, guys. Like, for real.
Yeah. Exhaust
Especially
is
apartment complex.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Safety comes first, and exhaust falls under safety.
Luckily, I'm in a duplex, so I don't have to worry about neighbors, but I won't be soon, which is why we had to move all of the lasers out of the house and take them back to the shop.
Just be careful. Use your head. If it's not safe, someone mentioned pets. Exactly. You don't want pets can get blind too.
Yeah.
So and if you do, like, I built a box for my Artura. It was literally a box, had a hinge top and a hinge drop down front. It came up, connected with like something you would connect on a door, basically like an eye hook,
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a fireball. I bought some fireballs where if fire occurs, it like explodes in there and puts the
It
fire
does the
out,
powder
right?
explosion thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And I put one of those. It was a smaller one. I put it in there along with everything, sucking it out with a 4-inch blower. And I didn't even have a window. I bought some J Photonics, laser glass or laser acrylic, really.
Yeah.
And I never did the window. I threw a Wise Cam in there. And then I was like, you know what?
Whatever, dude.
It's closed. I don't have to worry about it. I can look at it from the camera. And I still have it. I don't use that laser admittedly very often because I have the other ones now, but I run it like that because it's safer for everybody. And a camera, the Wise Cams are $25.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
You can watch it anywhere you're at. Don't leave your lasers unattended when they're burning. But you can watch it like 10 feet away when you're doing something different and not worry about it.
Well, and one more thing too to consider, like this doesn't, stop a dog from getting blinded or a pet from being blinded, but like Alex, I know Kyle does it, and I've started to having a camera that you put somewhere that you literally can use to view, because people have said that before too. So basically, it allows you, if you're on your phone, like I actually know my brother used to do that, where he would have it. He'd have to go inside for just a second, but he had his phone with him the entire time, and he could see. So it was like a run out there and stop it kind of thing. But also, like, you can put the camera above the actual laser and have that way the angle of incidence. Because remember, like, rays, go that way. So that's one of those things to consider too, just to keep your eyes from directly looking at it and have animals and all that stuff. Keep it up a little higher, right?
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, I keep mine on all the time. Currently, I was rearranging stuff, so this I was going to show you a view of it, and I just realized I moved it right before I came here. I'm rerunning all the ductwork in the back for the fiber. I totally forgot I moved the freaking camera, but I have them here in the studio. I have them on my printers. The Wise Cam, use whatever camera you want, right?
Yeah,
some people use on cell phones. If
Like
you have
Logitech has like $40 ones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could
Yeah,
just
Wise
run like
cams
a
are
USB
25
webcam
bucks.
to a computer sitting
That's
next
what
to
I've
an
got.
enclosure if that's all you can do. Also, I wanted to just mention this. David Bennett says, I did the same thing with my diode after seeing that episode, Jim.
Mhm.
Have my diode in a grow tent.
There you go.
Just be careful about the grow tents, because some of them are made out of PVC. So if your diode is doing like an overlap or like a cut, and it like cuts through material, if it's like marking any kind of like bottom surface of like that tent, you might be getting in trouble. So just something to keep an eye on. But yeah, those have worked really well in the past.
That's a big thing.
some
People
viewers.
started grabbing those and using them as enclosures for the diodes. I have a few of them. I don't use them very often, but it's cool. A lot, the ones I have are like shiny inside too, so it's going to reflect a little bit then, instead of hopefully blow through it if it does. But
yeah,
I don't know.
At 90 minutes, I am at risk of being murdered by my wife, because neither of my children are in bed. So I'm going to call it here. But Jim, Edge of Tech, guys, obviously you've heard of it. I don't even need to say, if you haven't heard of it, go subscribe. You're already all subscribed to Jim's channel. But if you're not, go do it. Obviously, links to all of his stuff, all of his social media, everything he runs, already down in the description. Got the hookup. Check out Hotmakes Mondays at
6 p.m. Central.
6 Central.
7 p.m. your time, and 4 p.m. on the other side of the coast, I guess.
Imagine being a Californian.
And check all that stuff out. Check out the Laser Everything playlist if you guys are looking to do something and you're watching on my channel as well. Trust me, it helps so much. And also, you're going to be in Loveland, Colorado, which is super random. There's a 3D printing event. It's basically a big maker fair kind of thing. There's going to be vendors. There's a ton of makers coming next weekend. The 22nd and 23rd, they're giving me a microphone, allowing me to MC the event, essentially.
Nice.
We're going to have battle racers, which are essentially like 3D printed battle bots, kind of. They're like tanks
That's cool,
that like battle each other, and 3D printed drag racers. And it's free to attend if you get there. So come say hi, meet us in person, or meet some of us in person and stuff like that.
I feel like at least a dozen people are just like, oh my God, I am going to be in Colorado. Like,
yeah.
Did he say Loveland?
It's super Loveland. I'll be in Loveland. Yeah. It's super random. It's awesome. They have a huge turnout so far. I think they have over 2,000 people. As of last night, there was almost 2,100 people registered. It's free to attend if you get there, right? You just got to get there. It's super easy to get there from Denver, just north. But it's. I wish we could do an event like that for lasers. Like,
we can.
Is there a thing like out there that I'm missing because I don't see that?
I mean,
I've never
really?
seen
Do it.
Jason's doing his little light burn experience.
Yeah, LBX.
That's true.
LBX,
That's true.
Yeah.
Illinois, I think.
Peoria, Illinois, in the end of October. I should be there as well. Actually.
I think
it's October 23rd. I think.
I think it's going to be a few months before we're there in like laser armor, like shooting them at each other for like like hardcore laser tag.
Yeah.
But it could be in our future. We don't know.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I can get to Peoria. That's not too far from me.
No, it's very close to you. You may have to go as a channel representative.
That would be
I
cool.
told Jason I can't go this year because of the baby, but
I'm prepared.
what is that?
It's his travel camera.
Little the
I thought it was ape.
4K
I'm
camera,
prepared.
motherfucker. This
4K. All right, guys.
You have a super camera in your pocket, probably.
That's
I'm
true,
just gonna
that's
guess. Like, but no, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Come back.
Anytime, let me know anytime. I love hanging out. It was a lot of fun.
Sooner than later, bro. I want to talk about the innards of the Ohm Tech. I want to get more into the Ranger. I want to see how that ends up doing for you over the long term. And of course, catch up on like 3D printing. Maybe Kyle will have one by then. He's been looking.
We'll have to collab at some point.
I'm not sure where you are, Kyle, but if you, I may have something for you. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but
okay.
And
Connecticut.
We'll catch up on that, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Laser Source Podcast. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live, especially when Jim's back. Don't want to miss that. And of course, again, for the 80 billionth time, follow Jim on everything. Give him some money. Do something. Just support him. I think you have a Patreon link down there, dude, in the description.
I think I do, yeah.
Go hit up his Patreon, guys. Like, this guy is like a service to the community. Help him out. And I don't know. What are the other things we tell people to do? Boyce wants you to go buy merch. Go buy your crappy merch. And
the good ones, too.
Buy. Oh, no, don't buy. Go, please. This is free. This doesn't cost anything. Go onto Apple Podcasts and drop us 5-star rating. It really helps us to find a new audience. Jim, how important those 5-star ratings are. Because you guys, Hotmakes is like an audio podcast too, right? Or is it video only?
We haven't done that in a long time. We ran out of bandwidth to throw it up on the podcast. So we did for a long time, and we haven't now for a long time. But,
for sure. It makes a huge difference. 5-star rating. You don't have to write a review. Just let us know how often you think Boyce has to wet shave in order to maintain the shape of his skull. And
love it.
I don't know. Go listen to Emergency Stop. It's our non-work podcast. If you want to hear some gross stories about things that happen outside of work from these idiots down here,
not for kids.
Be the place to do that. Emergencystop.net, not for children. And I think that's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
See you, everybody.